Morning, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss a bit about gut microbiome testing, which is quite become popular over the last few years, right? And I'm also going to tell you what right question you should ask when you're going for a gut microbiome test. Probably, uh, that is really important rather than spending your money and time on these tests when we do not have the right set of you know results. So essentially, we all know that our body is a container for 100 trillion microbes living in different parts of the body, including mouth, gut, vagina, skin, scalp, everywhere, right? And they account for 99% of genes that are expressed in our body, right? So essentially, we are, in terms of genes expression standpoint, we are only 1% human, right? And these microbes are the food we eat first is available to these microbes who metabolize, to oral microbes, or these who pre-digest the food and make it available for absorption, and they also send biochemical signals in terms of telling other microbes what is coming on the way, which triggers a cascade of biochemical activities and various biological processes and program your biology for health or disease, right? So, and similarly, there are these foods which are high in fiber, polyphenols, or probably you're consuming too much of protein, probably, these food land up in your gut and these microbes in your gut actually synthesize, interact with each of the food. So each food has various thousands of substrates, right? And each food and your microbes interact with each of these substrates and express a particular gene which triggers again thousands of biochemical reactions which either gives you nutrients or trigger inflammation, right? So essentially, now coming back to the point of the gut microbiome testing, right? And again, 99.999% of these companies in India, I'm not 100% because we do it differently, right? So I'll also share what we do, but 99.9% of these companies focus on microbial DNA, right? Which just tells you a presence of a particular bacteria, right? But that is something where most of these companies go wrong, right? What we really need to understand is that uh, you know these microbes do not have eyes; they sense biochemical functions. So having a bacteria doesn't mean that bacteria is active or performing a beneficial or harmful function, right? We need to understand not only which bacteria there, but what they are doing, what is their behavior, what they are expressing, what metabolites they're secreting, right? For instance, let me give you a very important example. There's a bacteria called Echinacea muciniphala, right? And this is one of the researchers found that this is one of the bacteria uh, you know, uh, which plays a key role in improving metabolic health, which plays a key role in producing biofilm, right? But this bacteria is also said to cause leaky gut or issues such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and multiple sclerosis, right? So essentially, again, just telling you have this Echinacea muciniphala in your gut doesn't mean that it's going to produce biofilm or doesn't mean that it's going to trigger Parkinson or produce certain inflammatory activity is going to cause multiple sclerosis, right? It all depends upon what they are doing. So you need to understand on, what genes they are expressing as a result of external trigger, and external trigger obviously the food you eat majorly, right? So essentially, if you are consuming a lot of fiber, so these microbes, these specific bacteria actually uh, consume fiber and produce bitrate, which is really beneficial for your health. We discussed about bitrate in our previous video, right? But again, if you are not eating fiber or you're not feeding this bacteria, they are going to feed themselves, right? So essentially, so by the name is muciniphala, it is lives in mucin and it is uh, larval form mucin. So essentially, if you do not feed it, this bacteria start eating your mucin, and then your mucin line is disrupted, and you have leaky gut, and then you have all these you know, autoimmune issues, right? So essentially, just if someone is telling you you have this echinacea, this percentage, or you do not have it, or you have very less, or probably you have more of it, right? And it is good or beneficial. You can't just decide based on a presence of the bacteria, and that's really really unfortunate that these companies are just focusing on the presence of bacteria that doesn't really help, right? Uh, so they need to understand what actually they are doing, what biochemical functions they're performing, what metabolites they're secreting, you know, how their metabolites is interacting with the immune system and how it is impacting your cellular health, your mitochondria, number of things, right? And again, you have these things coming up in your probiotics also. So the companies are putting Echinacea, Mucintilla in probiotics. You don't know which strain they are putting and assuming that it is going to help your metabolism. Again, if you're taking those strain, right, obviously there is no clinical efficacy or any any patent or clinical trials. So this is just screens and all these ads are being done to just push their probiotics, but the fact is that again, even if you take probiotic, which I'm not sure whether is live or that which these OTC probiotics are being sold, right? But again, even if you assume it is live, right, you need to feed them with the right food, right? And again, that is very important. That again depends upon not which bacteria is doing, but what they're doing, how they're interacting with the microbes, how they're interacting with the immune system, how they're interacting with our body organs. That is really, really important. So what you really need to understand is what we do is, right, we go beyond DNA, we measure each and every biochemical function, right? So we convert the biochemical functions into pathways. Essentially, each pathway may be a combination of thousands of biochemical functions. So we look at which bacteria is there, what genes are being expressed, what genes are expressing, what were underexpressed, overexpressed, not expressed. So there's huge other points which we analyze, we focus on what functions are performing, what metabolites are secreting, right? And we measure and quantify each of these pathways, which forms basis for your food recommendations, right? Different recommendations. So again, all these 8, 10,000, 15,000 tests of just telling you, you have, we can tell you which bacteria is there in your gut. It's not going to help, right? And again, you need to understand what they are actually doing, and that's how we now look at both an oral and gut microbiome. So we can tell you how what oral microbiome is doing, what gut microbiome is doing, how they're interacting, how they're impacting the immune system, how they're impacting the mitochondria, right? So take the right choices. Do not fall for these steps which just are being sold every time and doing back, right? Understand you need to know the biochemical functions performed by your microbiome, not which microbiome. That's it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.